Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. This week I've got more tech news, a look at Synth, and a review of a Pear Deck and how you can create presentations that allow for student interaction and formative assessment. There's a lot you can do with this program, so I'm chunking this into 2 episodes. If you feel comfortable with the material I'm covering today, you can skip ahead to the next segment of this episode at the time listed up here. So let's get rolling with Pear Deck. Creating slides to use with Pear Deck is an easy process, but I know there's been some confusion around this, and it all has to do with when you created your account. If you created an individual teacher account before August 2018, i.e. before MPCS purchased a subscription, you would have created presentations using the older system through Pear Deck's website. If your account was created with the subscription purchased in August, you would have been rolled into the newer system that integrates with Google Slides. However, as of sometime in September, Pear Deck rolled everyone with an account over to the new system, and Pear Decks can only be created in Google Slides now. So for those of you using PowerPoints, you have to upload your PowerPoint to Google Slides. If you're not sure how to do this, you can check out the link to the video up here in the corner to see how. So to create slides in a Pear Deck, you can start by creating a brand new Google Slide deck or update an older presentation. The key is that you want your presentation finished before adding in the Pear Deck questions. Once your presentation is complete, you need to open the Pear Deck add-on. Let's walk through installing it if you haven't done this yet. Click on Add-ons, then Get Add-ons, and you can search for Pear Deck, or it already comes up so I can click on it. And then you'll click on the blue button labeled Free and click Allow for it to integrate into your Google account. I've already added this, so mine is a green Manage button instead. Once you've added it, the new window will close and a pop-up will appear just under the add-on menu, letting you know that it's been installed. Now we need to go back and actually open up the add-on. So we'll go back to Add-ons and then go down to Pear Deck and open the Pear Deck add-on. And then a navigation window will open up on the right. There are 3 types of slides you can add to your presentation to make it interactive. You can choose from already created template slides for the beginning, middle, or during, and end of your lesson. Or you can choose one of the critical thinking template slides that make students think a little deeper about the content. Or as you continue down the navigation window, you can add in your own interactive slides. Let's quickly look at some of the templates. I'll click on Beginning of Lesson and search through the slides. When I find one to use, I want to make sure I know which slides I want it to go between and click on the slide above the one where I want it to go. So let's say I want it to go between this lesson idea slide and this video on Flipgrid. I'd want to make sure I have the lesson idea slide selected, and then I want to choose this template. So then I'll click on it and voila, it inserts it in for me. And then I can change the template and adapt it for my own use. So I'm going to drag the dot to show if you're ready to move on, and change it to how do you feel about this lesson? So then when I present this with students, they'll be able to drag the dot to whichever one they feel. If they feel good about the lesson or if they don't feel good about the lesson and they might need more help. And then I can move to my next slide and insert in the next template that I want to use. I'll hit the back button to go back to the main menu, and this time I'll click on critical thinking. And you'll see here there are slides for explaining, observing, interpreting, and all of this really reminds me of the steps on Bloom's taxonomy. And I know that this is going to be able to help students make deeper connections to the content. Finally, you can add in your own questions. Since you are not inserting an already made template, you have to create a slide with your own material. So if I want a multiple choice question, I need to include the question and responses to choose from. So I've already created a slide with my question and my responses. And again, you'd want to do this before you start adding in your Pear Deck slides. So since I know this is multiple choice, I'm going to click on the choice icon, and then I have to type in my responses. Through the magic of video, I was just able to quickly add in my responses, but there's not really an easy way to do this. You can see that you can't move this window to go and copy and paste your answers in. So what I did is I actually copied the whole thing, went in and pasted, like here, if I take this one out, I pasted in all of it and then just took out all of the text that I didn't need that corresponds with my other responses and just added it this way. Or you could open up the notes feature on your desktop, paste it in there, and then maybe copy and paste from the notes feature. So like here, I've got my notes. So I could have pasted all of this in here and then copied this into the responses that way. And then I'm going to hit update slide, and this will make it an interactive Pear Deck slide. So now you'll see down here at the bottom, if you notice, that it indicates that it's now been converted to a Pear Deck slide and students can choose an option. Let's look at another example. Let's say if I'm creating a draggable question, I still have to set up what I want students to be able to drag. So here's an example that I used in a recent PD session. I wanted participants to tell me which statements they agreed with. So I had to create the statements first and then set up the number of dots I needed to be dragged to the statements. So this is what you would see on the teacher side. And then for students, you see that there were several dots. And so there's 4 different statements. And so if they agreed with all 4 of them, they would drag a dot to each statement they agreed with. Or if they only agreed with 2 of them, they would have just dragged the other ones over and just said that they agreed with these statements. So I had to set up the dots ahead of time the way that I wanted them to work for the actual presentation. So then once you've finished with your presentation, it's time to present. So you're going to click on Present with Pear Deck, and it will jump up and you'll get the new window and it will ask students to join the session. The link and the join code will be projected and students can log in with their Google account. So then students will go to join@pd.com. It'll ask them to click on their Google account and then they'll add in the code. If you were to have a late student and you've already started your presentation, the code is still present in the upper right corner of all of the slides. And I learned this trick from Ms. Cockerham. You can click on the code and the original window will display again. I'll continue with the other features in the next episode. I created this new segment at just the right time as there's a lot more tech news this week. Screencastify announced on Twitter that it's created an add-on for Google Slides called Screencastify for Slides. It's a quick way to add your already created instructional videos to slide presentations. And Flipgrid had a big online party on the 23rd to announce its newest feature, Guest Mode. This allows educators to involve families, community members, experts, and more by granting them special permission to specific topics without providing access to the other topics in your grid. And finally, some PD news. The EDTechTeam is hosting a virtual summit on Saturday, November 17th. This is the team behind the National Google Summits and Google Boot Camps, so it's sure to be a worthwhile investment of your time. The theme is Create, so expect engaging sessions covering everything from creating with Chromebooks to creating real-world problem solvers and teacher leaders. This virtual event starts on Saturday, November 17th at 4 p.m. in Australia, and then follows the sun around the world for the next 14 hours, finishing up in North America at 1 p.m. Pacific time. You can check out your preferred region for session schedules, but you can watch any session from any time zone. I might be the only crazy person willing to do this, but there's a session I really want to see at 11 a.m. from the Europe schedule, and I'm actually considering getting up at 5 a.m. on that Saturday to view this. Like I said, I know I might be a little crazy. I'll put the links to register and view the schedule down below. In the last episode, Recap announced its new venture into Synth, and I've learned a little more about what this new product is. Synth can be used to record short podcast episodes that are up to 256 seconds long, or if you did a quick Google search like I did, you get 4.26 something minutes. I'm not sure why it's that specific, maybe to stand out from the already busy EdTech crowd. But in any case, it will also automatically transcribe your spoken words and display the transcript when your recording is playing. So this will be a great feature for our SPED and ESOL populations. Synth also has a public gallery of recordings that you can use in your own projects, or you can create a small channel of your own recordings, which can then be embedded into blog posts, web pages, or even Canvas. Since Synth was designed for use in education, they have a section of their blog devoted to educational tips and ideas. They've also created a list of 7 ways to use Synth in education that includes making audio exit tickets, language practice and feedback, and presenting evidence of thinking. I'll add the link to the list below as well. That's it for this episode. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Tech Tuesday.